Welcome back. We've exhausted ourselves talking about the Champions League, so look a little bit further down the table now. Now, Burnley this season, historic moment, they played in Europe, and let's be honest, it really did not help their season whatsoever. Right now, Leicester City are in pole position for that Europa League place, but look, just 1 point between themselves, Wolves, Everton and Watford. So, boys, first of all, I want to ask you, do you think that it is a blessing or a curse, or does it depend on which team you are?
I still think it's a blessing to play in Europe. It's still a European competition. Still get some fantastic teams in there. Obviously, Burnley would probably disagree with me because obviously they had a good season last season, but have really struggled now this season. But I do believe with the teams up there in that 7th spot, I think their squads are better than Burnley's and a lot thicker. So I think they could deal with it maybe a little bit better than Burnley have.
So you think they can all cope, Paul?
Everybody fights for 7th, but when they get there, it's like, I don't really want to be in Europe. I don't want to be coming back 3 weeks before everybody else comes back pre-season. But you know, you look at this quarter-final of the Europa League. Some of the quality teams in it, you know, when it gets down.
Play in those stadiums.
Of course it is. It's only because they changed the name of it. When it was called the UEFA Cup, it was a massive cup. It was brought up on it. It was like a great cup, and they changed it, and it sounds like it's one of them Power League trophy things. You know what I mean? It just does. It just ain't got that. You know, you have to win 1,000 games. But for me, when you look at that, I think Everton have got to finish. There's more pressure on Everton to finish 7th for the manager. I think you look at Leicester. I think Brendan's just come in. Wolves have had a phenomenal season. Yeah. To come up and mix it like they have, and then Watford are in a cup final already. I think Everton fans and I think the Everton board will be thinking, wait a minute, we should be finishing 7th. And I think if they don't finish 7th, and they don't finish the season strong, I think the manager would say they've had a bad season.
Well, let's not forget, of course, if Watford win the FA Cup, if they manage to beat Manchester City, then that space is theirs, regardless of where they finish.
So if Leicester finish 7th, but Watford won the FA Cup,
it's Watford.
It's Watford.
It's Watford's spot.
Okay. Be a lot of Man City fans then, won't there?
Yeah. So, but then when you look at the run-in where Leicester are right now, when you look at the remaining games, what do you feel in terms of who has got?
I think with Brendan, I think Brendan could do without it, because I think. He's
Darren's expert comment was oof.
Yeah, I mean, but Brendan's just come in, so Brendan would probably want a long pre-season with his players to buy into what he wants. Yeah. He's going to have to bring in some of his players that he likes, so he's going to need a longer pre-season than a Wolves. So,
but they're the form team right now in that they have won. I think it's 4 of the last 6. Leicester.
Right. Yeah, they had a bad result.
So out of that lot, they are, other than the Newcastle result, they are the form team there.
Yeah, for me, as I said, I just think when I'm looking at that, I would say Wolves would be the team that come 7th for me. And if they come 7th, losing the FA Cup semi-final, come from the Championship and get 7th, I mean,
it's unbelievable.
That ain't far away from being manager of the year. I know he wouldn't be because probably Klopp would get it or Pep, but that would be.
I can't disagree. Phenomenal. I think what Watford have done this season, wherever they finish,
and Watford
is nothing short of remarkable.
Them and Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves. For me, I think Wolves are more impressive, as Paul was saying there, to come out the Championship. I always felt with the squad they had as well, obviously seen them quite a lot last season, that they'd finish a lot higher in the league than they would near the bottom, because I just felt that they had players last season playing in the Championship that were Premier League players. Like that Ruben Neves was scoring worldies every week, and I just knew that he was a cut above the rest. So for me, he'd be my manager of the season. I mean, yeah, Klopp and Pep deserve it, but the Wolves manager's done a fantastic job.
Can't persuade you it's Gracia with a much smaller budget?
I just honestly feel that from where Wolves have come from, they were in the Championship last season, and all of a sudden they're on the borders of Europe. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yes, yeah. You make a very good case for them.
Yeah, I mean, Watford have been in. Watford are established now, do you know what I mean? But I still think they do great, Watford. I mean, but why shouldn't we expect that? As I say, they've got players that have played in the Premier League quite a while. Got some, you know, Troy Deeney's been around a while. You know, even though the goalkeeper made a mistake the other day, I still think he's up there with the best of the best, in my opinion. You know, I mean, it's so hard. Will any of these ever break in the top 6? Wow, that'd be a big ask.
How big a, if you like, miss or blow will it be, the fact they don't have Troy Deeney for the next 3? Unless they're successful that appeal, which...
I doubt he'll get away with that. I doubt he will. Yeah, he will be missed. He will be missed. I mean, just the semi-final. I mean, he was having a shocker. He was having a shocker, and to step up and put that penalty away is... honestly, you just couldn't explain how hard that was, you know. And he'd probably be the first to admit, him and Gray compared to the Jota and Jimenez, it was chalk and cheese. But to put that ball down and do that's, you know, that is what you call a player, in my opinion, you know, to be able to do that. And he will be missed. And I say that because he's a leader. On the pitch and off the pitch, you know, he gets the players together. He leads by example, and he will be missed. But don't get me wrong, they're a good team. You know, they went down to 10 men the other day, and you're watching that game, and if you'd have got in late, you'd have never known they were playing with 10 men. And that's against the team that could finish in the top 4.
Yeah.
Can they beat Manchester City in the FA Cup final?
Listen, they've got a chance, but I can't see it happening just because I think, for the sheer fact, again, of what's happened to Manchester City this evening, getting beat by Spurs and going out the Champions League, because, again, it's another trophy for them. They can go and win the Premier League, and the FA Cup has 3 trophies they've got this season. So I believe that Watford they've got an opportunity, but I just can't see now Manchester City slipping up anymore, because I feel this would be a big blow for them tonight, because I think this was the one they really wanted, the Champions League. So now they've gone out of that, I think they'll be hell for leather and winning the next 2 trophies.
Do you agree with Merce? Out of those 4, Everton have had the most disappointing season to date, and they really do need to finish 7th and take that spot.
Yeah, I agree. Paul was saying, obviously, I said Brendan just got to Leicester. Wolves were in the Championship last season, so they've got like a free hit this season, but they're doing fantastically well. And Watford are in the FA Cup final, which is massive for Watford Football Club. So for me, Everton are the kind of the team that's kind of in between, I believe. And the ones, obviously, the fans have not really been happy with the football they're playing, and they've been under a little bit of pressure. So if they can go and finish 7th, although they might not want to finish 7th, listen, it's a trip to Europe, and it could just maybe save their season.
I mean, it looked like they turned the corner. Good results against Chelsea and Arsenal, and then they go to already relegated Fulham. Yeah,
I mean, that you'd be pulling your hair out if you was a manager.
Yeah.
You really would. For me, I haven't really seen enough of the game. If I'm being honest, I haven't seen any of it. But the only thing that I could say there, it has to be attitude. It has to be the players must have just thought we're just going to turn up, because they absolutely slaughtered West Ham, and they were far better than Arsenal. And to go to Fulham, who are letting in at least 2 goals every single game they put their boots on, for me, I'd be questioning the players. I can't have a go at the manager there. I've got to be looking at the players and thinking the attitude can't be right.
Have you been impressed with the start that Brendan Rodgers has made?
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. It's not really surprised me. I mean, he's got players firing. Vardy started obviously scoring them again. He's been brilliant the last month. And just the way they played the game, I mean, you saw him what he did at Celtic, and a lot of people might say, oh, it's only the Scottish League, but he still had to go there and do it, and being as dominant as he did was still a great job. And he's gone to Leicester now with great foundations, great owners, you know, I mean, great backing, and they've got some real good players down there, so it just doesn't surprise me that they're doing as well as they can, and I think next season they're going to be doing better.
Because it's that Leicester City, they are at that transitional stage, aren't they? They've still got some of the remnants of the Premier League title-winning side, but they've still got new players bedding them. They've got some really exciting players as well, like your likes of Maddison, Tielemans as well.
I mean, he was the first one I was thinking of, Maddison. He's really impressed me this season. I mean, technically, he's got to be one of the best in the Premier League, just that dead ball. And I mean, if you look at some of the goals that Vardy scored of late, Maddison on the half-turn, just slipping him in, and that's how Vardy wants to play. So I think it's a really exciting time for Leicester. As I said, they're really quite quick, powerful side, play good stuff, and I think with Brendan Rodgers' tactics and the way he does stuff, I think next season Leicester are going to be really, really good.
I think the thing with Leicester next season, they will have to work on pre-season a lot, is breaking teams down. I mean, if you looked at the fixtures Brendan's had this season, when he's come in, a lot of the teams have come and had a go at Leicester. Like Huddersfield had to come and had to have a go at them. They were struggling. You know, Burnley, you know, Leicester had a player sent off early doors in Maguire, so Burnley were going to have a go at them. When Newcastle come and they sit back and they say, right, break us down, that's when they're going to struggle, because there's no space behind for Vardy to run into, and then you need a little bit more guile. So for me, that's what they'll need to probably work on. But I think he's a top manager. I think Leicester have had an absolute touch getting him, an absolute touch.
Can he break into the top 6 though?
Top 6 is hard. I mean, over 38,
tough.
Over 38 games, that's a hard call.
All I'm getting is chuckling to my left.
Yeah. No, that would be a hard call over 38 games. But again, you got that top 6, and then you've got another league of about.
So given that, how tough it is, and you agree with Paul there, surely Brendan Rodgers would want Europe, would welcome Europa League at Leicester.
I'm not saying he wouldn't. I think he'd love it. I think he'd love to go in because, he's an intelligent coach. He's a good manager. And he wants to go against teams. That's why he's come back to the Premier League.
Yeah.
So he can, he can use his managerial nous against other teams and try and outthink them. So to get into Europe, he would love to, definitely. But the fixtures he's got are very difficult. And 2, if he doesn't, it's not his fault.
No.
So, that's why I think there's a lot more pressure on Silva.